Okay, so now let's start our Mockun server. Simply hit the green play button or the green run button right here. Now I have to allow the access for sure because he wants to make use of some sort of local host and all of that. And now you can see that it is running. So what we want to do is we now want to go to the browser and visit our application. So what I just did is I went to the browser, localhost, port 3001, because that's what we saw in our .json configuration file, right? Now he says he cannot find /get, and that's true because we have no /get endpoint. We only have /tasks. So let's write down /tasks. You should now see the pure JSON response, right? So this is what we have in our message body. And for your interest, if you just open up your console, so Ctrl-Shift-J, you switch to the network tab. You can find it here, network tab, right? Let's just F5 the page so that the request gets sent again. And you will be able to see that we have one request right here. Let me just zoom out a little bit to make it a little bit better visible. And if I just click on that, you can now see, all right, yeah, there was a GET request to this URL /tasks, right? The answer was 200. Okay, so it worked pretty fine. And yeah, here you can see really a lot of stuff, right? You can also see the answer. So this is the header. Here, this is response. For me, as I said, it's in German, but it's not a problem. So for you, there should be a field which says response. And then you can also see the answer here, which is quite useful if you would use this answer here just to show a web page or whatever, and you're just interested, okay, what was the pure JSON information, right? So maybe you don't want to show it in the browser. However, you can really specify or identify or get more information about your request and response inside of the network tab. And you can even see, well, the duration, how long did it take until I get a response, for example, and the overall duration the response needed to get processed, right? So yeah, you can quickly find any sort of waterfalls down here. So if you, for example, send a request and the page loads forever, you can maybe find the issue because you see, oh yeah, I send a request and I get like 10 images, and those images are really taking a lot of time to get loaded over the browser or the server, right? Great, so let's move on. In Angular, what we now want to do is we want to inject the HTTP client into the task service. So let me just close everything here, but not the task service. Now, first of all, we start by importing the so-called HTTP client. HTTP client, oh, it's written in lowercase, HTTP client, there we go. From, what is it? It's Angular /common/HTTP. There we go. So this is where we can find the HTTP client, and we need it to be able to connect Angular to that web server that we just have created. And just for your interest, it is still running. So it's running in the background. Awesome. Let's just go to the constructor that we have right here, because here we can initialize it. We can create a field here, private HTTP client, and the value is HTTP client. Or it's of type HTTP client, not the value. Awesome. So in the moment, the instance of the task service will get created, right? That's handled by the dependency injection from Angular itself. We will get an HTTP client ready to use because that will also get provided. As you can see, if we open up the console here, we have a compilation error. Let me just scroll up. The class task service cannot be created via dependency injection as it does not have an Angular decorator. This will result in an error. So you can see just by adding that HTTP client here, let me just remove it, save again, and you should see that the compilation should work again. Yeah, okay, so this is causing the error, and what we need to do here is we need to make that injectable again. So what we need to do to fix the issue is we need to use a decorator here. For that, we just use the add inject here again, but we don't have to specify the provided in because we already did that manually. Let's do it just like this, or we can remove the curly braces here. So inject, oh, there we go. Add injectable. So this is what we have to do. Now you can see that it's compiled successfully again. Awesome. So we needed that in order to, well, use the dependency injection to inject that HTTP client here. Now take a look at our Angular application. open up the console and simply go to tasks, and you should be able to see a null injector error for the HTTP client. Well, and you can see there is no provider for HTTP client, and if you just remember right, you know that we already had exactly that issue. And we also provided a fix for, well, a different scenario, but the same applies here. Go to the Angular application and open up the tasks module. So what we need to do to fix the issue is we need to import something. We need to import the HTTP client module. So HTTP client module, there we go. This is what we have to do. It now got imported, and you weren't able to know that, right? So you didn't know that there is an HTTP client module. I just wanted to notify you that we already have seen this sort of issue and that you should know that we need to provide something or import a module or whatever, just to make sure that we have the provider set for the HTTP client. Okay, so here we are at the page again. Let me click on tasks. There we go. We now can see visit Anne, but that's all for sure still loaded from our Angular application, because right now we haven't used our HTTP client, but our application is working again, and we also get our tasks endpoint of the web server working. So now we can, well, we need to talk about CORS first, really, so that we can use cross-origin resource sharing, right? Which actually means that two web applications are allowed to communicate if they are, for example, on different domains or on the same domain but a different port and all of that. However, we need to configure that, and then we are ready to connect both applications together.